Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Soul of the SKOL. Unfortunately, Joel couldn't be with us today, but we got Matt filling in as a replacement for him today. Kind of sounds like, Matt, if you're up for it, you're going to be on most of the rest of our episodes. So
it's an honor.
We have officially added him to the Soul of the SKOL group chat, so we're all set. Yeah, so if no one else has anything to say for the intro, we can move on. All right, so Vikings game review. Of course, Vikings lost again. They've moved to 0-3 now. They lost 28-24 to the Chargers. I will say they played better as a unit than they have in the past. However, the defense was still pretty bad. Caleb Evans had a dropped interception that led to a touchdown. Kirk Cousins, on the last play of the game, threw an interception to a Chargers player. So it was all kind of it was a bit of a gong show. But hopefully the Vikings are going to be able to bounce back, beat the Panthers next week. Anyone else have anything to say?
I got to say one thing before we start off. If we do not beat the Panthers next week, I don't think I can do this podcast anymore. If we start off 0-4.
The Vikings have yet to win a game since this podcast became a thing.
Yeah.
So that might be a direct correlation.
Preseason included.
Struggles.
Yeah, preseason included.
I'd say if the Vikings lose to the Panthers, you can pretty much consider them 0-5 because they have the Chiefs the week right after.
True.
Yeah, God, no. I looked at it now. I just looked at the upcoming schedules here and just kind of thought about wins and losses. I think the Vikings are going to go 7-10.
The Vikings have a really difficult schedule this year.
To be honest, when does the talk to tank for Caleb Williams start? I mean, we're in a good position now.
It's already started.
It started. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I believe that the Jets currently have interest in Kirk Cousins. So that's a bit of a thing that the Vikings might have to consider is trading Kirk Cousins. And, as a recently converted Kirk Cousins fan, I'm not super happy about that because I really like Kirk as a person and as a quarterback. I think that he's the leader we need on this team. Plus, he's having one of the best starts to a season he's ever had. But at the same time, the Jets, if they have a great quarterback, they have a chance to go to the Super Bowl this year. And Zach Wilson's not going to do it for them. So if they are able to offer us, a first-round pick or two, maybe a first-rounder, second-rounder, something like that for Kirk Cousins, I think the Vikings really do need to consider it at this point because, an 0-3 start, that's not a Super Bowl team, of course, right? Defense isn't playing great. Offense is struggling. The one player that we expected to struggle against the Chargers, Alex Madison, actually did not. He did fumble twice, but I believe both were called back. So, I don't know. The Vikings are in a really weird spot here.
So, one thing I got to think about this is what the heck is the coaching staff doing? Because we have the players. On the offensive side of the ball, we have the players we can put the points up. On the defensive side, we let up so many points and just it seems like a lot of the stuff the Vikings are doing are making mental mistakes, and it seems like they're not exactly set up for success by the coaches, is what I'm seeing.
The lack of in-game adjustments is something that's a little concerning, just given the Chargers beat the Vikings by throwing passes 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. They were constantly throwing bubble screens and short slants to Keenan Allen, who had 18 catches and threw a touchdown. And then you got to look at the end of the game, too. I mean, you get that fourth down conversion, and your quarterback doesn't know what the play is. So he has to make one up. And throws a good ball, goes off the hands of TJ Hawkinson. It's just not – we're just not a playoff team right now. And at some point, you got to wonder if you entertain the Jets' offer because what you're hearing out of New York is that the defense is revolting against Robert Saleh for his faith and trust he's putting into Zach Wilson. So if you're the Vikings, you got to at least start now entertaining those trade speculations.
Absolutely. In this trade, would you accept a trade that includes Zach Wilson
No,
with the Vikings? No.
not a chance, because he'll just
I
end
don't
up
even-
on the practice squad.
I don't think the Jets would even try throwing Zach Wilson in any trade offer possible. I think his value is just there is no value for him.
Well, it's that. Plus, it sounds like Saleh really likes him for some godforsaken reason. Saleh likes Zach Wilson as their quarterback, and honest to God, I couldn't tell you why, because that dude is almost as untalented as Justin Fields.
I wonder if it's trying not to break the confidence or whatever, trying not to set his morale low, trying to still keep him afloat, try to still instill that belief that, hey, you can still do this. But, I mean, nobody on that team feels the same way as Robert Saleh does. So the tension that it's starting to build in New York is very interesting.
At some point, you just got to cut your loose ends.
Very true.
So I'm just going to rattle off a couple of stats from the game here. Kirk Cousins went 32 for 50, 367 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception. He was sacked 4 times. Alex Madison played well, 20 carries for 93 yards, 15 was his long, 4.7 was his average. Ty Chandler had a 9-yard average on 3 carries for 27 yards. Justin Jefferson has another outstanding game, 7 for 149 and a touchdown. He had 13 targets, so of course a lot of those targets were not on target. I think he actually did have 1 drop as well. So for a guy that we pride on his hands, it's a bit of an issue. TJ Hawkinson led the team in receptions. He had 8 for 78. KJ Osborne caught a touchdown, one reception on the game only for 36 yards. And Josh Oliver caught his first touchdown of the season. 2 receptions for 4 yards and a touchdown for him. Hawkinson also lost a fumble. He's only got 1 sack that came from Danielle Hunter. Overall, just didn't play impressively, if I'm being honest.
So I got something a little interesting here. I'm looking at the game leaders in passing here, Justin Herbert went 40 for 47. He had 7 incompletions the entire game. And Kirk Cousins went 32 for 50. 18 incompletions. Now, you think with the defense, like the blind forest scheme and everything, last week I thought we did pretty dang good against the pass. This week, we sucked against the pass, but we also held the Chargers to 30 rushing yards. So I don't know if we're adjusting for the previous game and not adjusting for the team we're going to play, or just you got to, I don't know. Really what I'm trying to say is the coaching staff not preparing them for the game ahead and just like protecting from the pass game. Like, it seemed like they may have protected the run a little more now, but all the running was last week, and this week was the passing, and they didn't protect for the pass. So it's, is that the coaching, or is that just,
The thing with that is that the Chargers were coming into this game without Austin Eckler on the roster since he's injured. They're starting off with Josh Kelly as their lead back. Josh Kelly, he's not, an excellent player. He only had 12 yards on 11 carries. So if the Vikings were focusing on playing the run this week in their practice, that was the wrong thing to do, obviously. I mean, Chargers have 3 elite receivers, not, 3 good receivers, 3 elite receivers. They have Keenan Allen, who had 18 receptions for 215 yards. They have Mike Williams, who had 7 receptions for 121 yards and a touchdown. Unfortunately for him, he's out for the season. He's tore his ACL. And a guy that's a little bit underrated right now, but was their first-round pick, Quentin Johnston, is going to be a huge player for them at some point in the year as well. So this is a team where you need to be able to play the pass a lot more than you can play the run. And Justin Herbert had a field day. I mean, 400 passing yards is excellent by any standard, right? So I just think that the Vikings, they didn't put any pressure on him, of course. They had 1 sack in the game. There's just issues that need to be addressed with the coaching staff. The defensive coordinator, he didn't play the team's strengths very well. Plus, our young defensive backs are a bit of a problem as well. They're not quite up to par with where we expect them to be. And Byron Murphy were our starters. Mekhi Blackman got a little bit of playing time as well. To be honest, I actually like Mekhi Blackman a lot. He played really well in week 1, and I'm expecting good things from him coming into this next week, as he'll be the guy filling in for Byron Murphy. So we're just gonna have to see how this week goes. Hopefully we can get the win against the Panthers, but yeah, the Vikings, if they played to the best of their abilities, they would have blown the Chargers out. But unfortunately, that just didn't happen.
Yeah, it's hard to say. As a Vikings fan, you got hope for the Vikings, but this year there's just after these first 3 games, I have no hope for the Vikings this season.
What point do we want to admit that Ed Donatel might have been the better defensive coordinator? It's only been 3 games, but
not yet. It's too soon.
I don't think anything could have been worse, to be honest.
I feel like the Vikings have the potential in the players, but they're not using it. I don't know. I don't know. It frustrates me, but at the same time, I got no control over it. But yeah, so much potential there. It's just 0-3 is not what you want to see.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have anything else to say about that. Otherwise, we can move on. The next thing we're going to go to is the Vikings-Panthers game preview. So Vikings are taking on the Carolina Panthers, the new home of Adam Thielen, former Vikings All-Pro wide receiver. What do you guys think is going to be the result here?
For the sake of the Vikings' entire season, they have to win this game. If they lose this game, just throw in the towel, tank the rest of the season, get a good quarterback next year, rebuild the offensive line, work on the defense, and just kind of reset. If they win, I don't know what they're going to do. They're probably going to drop the next one to Kansas City, and just, yeah. But I feel like
sorry.
I just feel like this is a must-win for the Vikings.
Yeah, I feel that same way too. Adam Thielen's coming off a career game with 11 catches, 145 yards, and a touchdown. Andy Dalton looking like prime Cincinnati days. We gotta win. We just have to win. I don't really got anything else to say. It's desperate at this point.
Like I said before, the Vikings cannot start off 0-5 in a season. That's, they gave us fans a little bit of hope with their offseason moves and the way the draft went. But now being 0-3, this is a must win, right? We need to at least be 1-4 going into our week 6. I think that we can already consider week 5 against the Chiefs a loss. They're a top 5 team in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes is, of course, at the helm of that offense, along with Travis Kelce. So I think that that's just going to be a really tough matchup that the Vikings are going to struggle to win.
You can't forget all the Swifties in that now in the Kansas City.
I thought I could escape it here, but I guess I can't.
Here's the thing here's all I'm going to say about that, okay?
Yeah.
If you didn't like football before Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce started dating, you're not allowed to like football now.
No. I've seen some posts where it's like you can hear the breakup songs already. Definitely can.
I saw a post that said Travis Kelce scoring sixes on and off the field.
I did see that one too.
Yeah, you see, he had 69 yards exactly.
Yes, I did. I did see that.
You go on Instagram, all you see on ESPN is Colorado, Taylor Swift. It's a fan page for those two.
Yep.
So I just did a Google search here. The last time the Vikings started 0-5 was the 1962 season. They ended that season 2-11-1.
Oof. Oh boy, yeah, we need a W here tonight or this weekend.
Yeah, the last time the Vikings were 0-4, it was 2011 where they finished 13-3. Or 3-13, excuse me.
Okay,
I was gonna say that's
wow,
not possible.
So
They lost their first 3 and won the last 13.
So this is the second time in 4 seasons the Vikings are 0-3. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You never know, right? The Vikings could end up 14-3 this year. That's theoretically a possibility. Is it going to happen? No, but it's theoretically a possibility. So, I mean, you never know. The Vikings could win the Super Bowl still.
So, 4 teams that have started off 0-3 have made the postseason since
when?
Since the 1990s.
Oh, since the 1990s? Okay, that's what, almost 40 years. 3 teams that have started off, or 4 teams, was it?
Yeah.
4 teams that were 0-3. Okay, I mean,
when you start off 0-3, you have a 2.5% chance of making the playoffs. Nice.
Well, you know the Vikings, they love to just have us sitting on the edge of our seat, right?
This Vikings Super Bowl.
So what team is this podcast going to change to when the Vikings start tanking?
We're going to root for
anyone but the Bears.
I don't think it can be any worse than the Bears.
The Bears may end up having a better record than the Vikings this season.
Don't say that, Big Lou.
You think we can out-tank the Bears?
Oh, God.
It's pretty impossible to out-tank a team that runs a screen pass on their own goal line and throws a pick six.
If the Vikings get rid of Kirk Cousins, I have a feeling we will run out of quarterbacks this year because they're going to get hurt so much because of the offensive line.
Well, Nick Mullins, he'll obviously be our new starter, unfortunately. And once he gets hurt, because he'll get hit so much, it'll be Jaron Hall, the rookie from BYU.
Hey, maybe
I really don't think that's a situation that we want to be in, especially with Justin Jefferson in a contract year, right? I think that with Jefferson, we want to be able to keep him. And I don't know if he'll want to stay if he has a bad season where Kirk's not with him or where he doesn't have a starting caliber quarterback, which we only have one of. So do we trade Jefferson then if we trade Kirk?
Hey.
I'm not suggesting that as a good thing, Big Lou. I'm suggesting that as a bad thing.
I'm just saying you're coming around to my prediction. You're all hating on it.
Look, it is a really bad prediction, but at the same time, I don't think the Vikings will trade Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, because if we trade Kirk Cousins, there is no chance. It's a tank season. I mean, unless Jaron Hall is the next Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant backup quarterback somehow pops off, but
he's not.
Yeah.
I watched him in the preseason. He's not.
Big Lou, we saw him in person. Were we that impressed by him?
Oh, God, no.
How did Nick Mullins play when you guys went to the game?
It was only Jaron Hall.
Yeah.
Oh, it was only Jaron Hall? Okay.
I mean, he was athletic, but I mean, he doesn't know where
he's
the
not
line of
comfortable enough
scrimmage
in
is.
the pocket.
Yeah.
That's the problem with him is he likes to run the ball so much that he reminds me of Justin Fields.
And you said Justin Fields is going to be the MVP or the Madden cover.
You know what, Big Lou? You said that Justin Jefferson is going to get traded, so I don't think you can talk about bad predictions.
I think it just occurred to me. Ever since we let go of Jalen Reagor, we've fallen.
It's definitely because we don't have Jalen Reagor.
Jalen Reagor was the glue that held this team together.
Yes, Mr. Patriots practice squad himself.
Patriots legend Jalen Reagor.
Yeah.
Former first-round pick. I remember when I saw that headline come out, it said Vikings parting ways with former first-round receiver. And I was like, oh, no. Did they trade Jefferson? And then I remembered, oh, wait, Jalen Reagor was a first-round receiver. Never mind.
All right. Do you guys have anything else here? Otherwise, I'd say we could probably go on to our
season. Sorry about that little tangent we just went off on. We'll go onto our week 4 picks. Just have
to everyone listening here, we do not have much to talk about. Like the preview of the game is just a must-win game for the Vikings, so we've gone on a lot of tangents here. I apologize, but there's just not a whole lot to talk about.
All right, I'm going to share my screen here. So, can you guys see it all right?
Yep.
Okay. So, there's going to be some predictions that came off the board. Joel had 2, I had 3, and Matt had 1. So, Joel's 2 was the Vikings will turn the ball over at least 2 times versus the Chargers. That happened. There was 1 lost fumble and 1 interception. He also said the Cowboys will beat the Cardinals by at least 20 points. The Cowboys somehow lost to Jonathan Gannon. I don't know how they pulled that off, but the Cardinals won. I believe it was 28-16. So I don't know how that happened, but I think we all thought Joel's prediction that the Cowboys would beat the Cardinals by at least 20 was the most successful one.
I got to interrupt you here, Sam. I saw the power rankings here for the NFL. Vikings are ranked below the Cardinals.
Yeah.
They're ranked 26th, I think it was.
Well, guess what? The Cardinals have a win and we don't.
The Cardinals just have that fire in their bellies.
They got fire in their gut.
Cardinals also got an easier schedule than us.
There's no excuses. They beat the Cowboys.
No excuses, man.
And we haven't beat
the Cowboys.
And we lost to the Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers have been doing decent. Yeah.
We lost to Baker Mayfield, and they beat the Cowboys. I think they got a 1-up on us.
We deserve to be where we are.
Yes. Yeah. The Vikings have earned their spot at 26.
Unfortunately.
All right. With that being said, my 3 predictions that came off the board were not actually mine. They were Big Lou's roommate O's. So Sam's predictions were that the Chiefs would beat the Bears by 20-plus points. That hit. He said that Washington continues their hot start, beating the Bills and move to 3-0. Obviously, that did not work out. And then his third prediction was that Kirk Cousins throws for 300-plus yards again, which he did. But the second part of that the Vikings would beat the Chargers, did not hit. So that one was incorrect.
You should split that in half. Like it's a 50%.
Give you a half point for that.
Yeah, half point for that.
All right, I'll take it. Listener predictions, Matt's. He said that Trevor Lawrence would have 300 yards passing versus the Texans, and he did not. And Jacksonville actually lost to the Texans, which is what we're about to get into right now. So, week 3, these are how our predictions went. I guess I didn't even check to see who did the best, but it looks like Joel did the best. He only picked 3 incorrectly. He said that Dallas would win, Baltimore would win, and Jacksonville would win, which were things that all 5 of us said, and none of those were correct. Of course, all upsets. That's what happens, right? So with that being said, we are about to move on to our next week of picks. I think we go me to Big Lou, and then we'll reveal Joel's, and then Matt, you can go.
The usual.
Yes. So I'm actually just going to remove one row at a time. Does that sound good to you guys?
Sounds good.
All right, so week 1, myself, Big Lou, and Matt have Detroit beating the Packers, and Joel actually has Green Bay beating the Packers in this one. So, bit of an interesting pick for Joel there.
You got to say, it is in Green Bay, so they do get that advantage.
It's true.
So,
The Lions are a much better team, though.
Absolutely.
Next up is our first London game at Wembley Stadium, Falcons and Jaguars at 8:30 a.m. And all 4 of us took Jacksonville, and Matt took Cax.
Yeah.
Jacksonville. Push that really quick.
Toy Story broadcast.
I
can't wait to watch that one.
That I want to see that Toy Story
We're going
broadcast.
from Andy's bedroom, man.
Absolutely. That looks incredible and super fun to watch.
Yeah, I shouldn't have tried typing that in on all black because I can't spell.
That's why you look up at the top portion.
I did.
FX there.
I did do that, and I still missed it. So
far up here.
I don't want to hear it.
Oh my god! I'm just realizing now that they actually have an FX button
all right,
on
next
here.
game we have. Yep.
Go ahead, Sam.
All right, next game for week 4, we have the Steelers versus the Texans, and Joel is actually going to take the Texans in this one. The rest of us are going to take Pittsburgh. So, I mean, of course, Pittsburgh is off to a good start. They're 2-1. They just beat the Browns. So, Pittsburgh is actually, they're doing pretty well this season. But at the same time, Houston did just beat the Jaguars. So, we got a bit of a game on our hands here to watch.
CJ Stroud's looking pretty good.
Isn't CJ Stroud ranked
he is.
Number 5 for passing yards?
Yeah.
He might be.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, I looked up 906 yards. And Kirk Cousins owns that lead with 1,075.
Kirk's already thrown for 1,000 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Tua.
Oh, boy. That's our Kirko.
Yep. Good
Him and
stats,
Tua.
guy.
Got number 1 receiver,
All right.
number 1 sacks, and we're on 3.
I think number 2 in sacks.
Yep.
Did TJ Watt have 2 then last week?
Yeah, TJ Watt had 2. Danielle Hunter is currently number 2 in sacks.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, going on to the next game, Buccaneers versus the Saints. 2 of us took Tampa Bay. 2 of us took New Orleans. Myself and Big Lou took Tampa Bay. Joel and Matt are both taking the Saints. The Saints have been doing pretty well this season, but I think Baker Mayfield's going to be able to pull this one off too.
Yeah. The Buccaneers are actually looking decent.
The Bucs don't look too bad. I think they could probably have a 9-8 season.
I feel like they can grab that wild card.
Mm-hmm. All right, with that being said, moving on to the next game, we have the Dolphins and the Bills, and we are all taking Miami.
Oh, my bad.
There we go.
I'm not betting
all
against...
right. Of course, Miami put up 70 points against the Broncos last weekend. I think it was the 3rd time in NFL history that's ever happened.
Yep.
So,
4th.
Of course, they are legit this year. They are 4th time. Miami's legit this year. They are, Super Bowl hopefuls, Super Bowl probables. So there's a chance that the Dolphins are going to be playing in the Super Bowl, probably against the Eagles.
I got a random tangent to go on here. Did you see the Vikings head coach in the 3rd quarter with 10 minutes left was in the stands letting fans drop and make play calls? Did you guys see that?
I did.
I did not.
That yeah.
Wait, can you say that again? You cut out of my audio.
Dolphins head coach, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Mike McDaniels.
Mike McDaniels. He was in the stands the middle of the 3rd quarter, letting fans pick plays to run.
That wasn't real. That was Photoshopped.
It was not. Was it?
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. That is
But
totally
yes, I did see
something he
that.
would do if
Yeah.
he could.
Oh,
I mean, it's something he would do, but I don't think he did it.
I saw it multiple times, so I thought it was true. But
no, I'm pretty sure it's photoshopped.
Let's look it up here.
Dolphins.
All right, while Big Lou's looking that up, I'm going to go on to our next game. The Bengals versus the Titans. Of course, Joe Burrow has not been playing great this year, but we're all going to take Cincinnati anyways. Joe Burrow currently ranked QB 30 in the NFL, which is very much the opposite of last year, where he was ranked in the top 5 consistently the whole season. So I don't even think we're going to give DeAndre Hopkins and the Titans a chance in this one.
Their offense just can't do anything. It's boring to watch.
Unfortunately, yes, that's very true. Moving on to the next week, we have an AFC North showdown between the Ravens and the Browns. 2 of us are going to take Baltimore. 2 of us are going to take Cleveland. I'm going to take Baltimore because they're off to a hot start. Plus, Cleveland is now down Nick Chubb, so it's not going to be super helpful to them. But, yeah, I'm going to take Baltimore in this one just because I think that they're the overall better team.
I think Cleveland's defense does just enough to stop Lamar Jackson.
It's true. Cleveland's defense is one of the best in the NFL right now.
Sam, are we going to differ on any picks today?
I don't know, Big Lou. We might on this one. So, on this one, we have what could be known as the worst game in NFL history. Okay?
I would go that far.
It's the Broncos versus the Bears. Both teams are absolutely terrible. Some people are calling this the toilet bowl, and it looks like we're all going to take Denver here. I think this is just because, Justin Fields is going to be the most athletic T-Mobile worker of all time. So I really think we're going to let Russ cook in this one. He's actually going to do well. Broncos win this.
What do we think final score is going to be? Do you think combined over or under 20 points?
I'd say over.
Under.
I'd say over
under.
too.
It's going to be under for sure.
We're setting it at 20?
It'll be under 20.
Over.
Combined. Oh.
I'm saying under 20.
I don't think we're going to get a Broncos-Colts type game.
I don't think they're I don't think that the Broncos or the Bears can score 10 points against each other. Have the Bears scored 10 points in a game this whole season?
They did against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yes, it was mop-up time, but they technically did.
Do you think it's possible that it could end in a 0-0 tie?
I think that's every NFL fan's dream.
You don't think
I
it's
think
possible?
that at least one of the teams will be able to kick a field goal. It's definitely
right,
possible. It's very unlikely.
For the sake of the game, I hope it's a 0-0 tie. But.
Yeah, well, we can hope.
Yeah.
All right. If no one else has anything to say on that, let's move on to the Rams versus the Colts. And looks like we are going to go half and half again. It looks like Matt and Joel are very similar in their picks, while Big Lou and I are exactly the same in all of our picks so far. Puka Nacua, of course, the breakout wide receiver 1 for the Rams, guy they had on their practice squad that is just going crazy somehow. No one's heard of this guy, right?
He did terrible this game.
5 catches, 70 yards is considered terrible.
Against the Bengals.
No,
against the Bengals, he didn't have 100 yards.
Oh, I had him on my team, and when I went to bed,
what
he had
are we
5
constituting points. As terrible?
When I went to bed, he had 5 points.
5 catches, 72 yards. If you consider that bad,
he ended up
pretty
with
good
12.
receiver in the NFL.
Okay, I take back what I said. He did.
Yeah, if
pretty
you
good.
consider that bad, you're Justin Jefferson.
I take
Puka
that back.
Nacua is
He did.
legit through 3 weeks. We'll see how it goes week 4. The Colts, their defensive backs are not great, I don't think. I wouldn't say they're as bad as the Vikings right now, but their defensive backs, with the loss of Stephon Gilmore, it's their DB room is struggling. So we'll see how well Puka can do, how well Stafford can do, and their running back, who I always forget the name of, we'll see if he can also do well against them.
Kyron Williams.
So, yes, him. Somehow, I mean, he was running back 1, I think, in the first 2 weeks, just like Puka was wide receiver 1 or 2 in the first 2 weeks. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable that the Rams, these unnamed players that we've never heard of before, are making such a great performance. So, I'd love to see a Puka Nacua Pro Bowl, if I'm being honest, because I like the guy. I watched him play. He's a really good player. I mean, he's open on every single play. It's like they're not even covering him, right? I mean, one game, I believe he had 15 receptions. So I think he's legit. I think he is going to be a high caliber wide receiver in the NFL, if not just for one season, right? So, I mean, we'll see how far this takes them, but I think it's going pretty well.
All right, here's a random thought that just popped in my head. Since the Pro Bowl is kind of just a joke nowadays, what if you do that? So the Pro Bowl this year, like a full contact game, go back to that. The winner, like AFC, NFC, whoever wins the Pro Bowl this year, then the next year, like Super Bowl team, whether it be like AFC, NFC, whoever wins the Pro Bowl, that team gets the home field advantage.
I don't know about that.
I think neutral site's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Well, no, not home field advantage, but they get like the home team.
So they're
In the neutral
designated
site.
home team.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe. I don't think they'll go back to a full padded, full contact
but-
game ever again, which
No.
is kind of annoying because, when it was a legit Pro Bowl game, those were so much fun to watch. But recently,
and you got guys flipping teams sometimes. Like, what's the one center want to do a last snap with Peyton Manning, so flip teams for a snap.
Jeff Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if we have nothing else to say about the Rams and Colts, we'll move on to the Commanders and the Eagles. I would assume this will be unanimous, and it is. We all have Philadelphia taking this one home. Not much to be said about this. The Eagles are, in my opinion, the best team in the NFL. Most rounded team.
I'd have to agree with you.
All right. Can we hurry this thing up? I got a meeting to be at 5:30, and I got to eat before then. So.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Next week, Vikings-Panthers. We all are taking the Vikings again. Hopefully, we're not disappointed.
It's not going to end well.
We'll see. Raiders-Chargers. 2 of us are taking the Raiders. Big Lou and I differ for the first time.
Yeah.
Cardinals versus Niners. Unanimous. We're all taking the Niners on this one. Pats-Cowboys. Matt's taking the Patriots in this one. Interesting pick there, Matt. Chiefs versus Jets. We're all taking Kansas City. And last but not least, Seahawks versus Giants. And doing something weird here. Big Lou's going to take the Giants. The rest of us are going to take the Seahawks. So here are our picks for this next week in the NFL. All right, I'm going to stop sharing here. Come back to here. Well, boys, is there anything else that needs to be said before we depart?
No, I'll see you guys next week for the show, but let's just hope it's a better episode than this week, and we're not reporting about a loss.
Yeah, that would be nice to not report about a loss for once.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it.
It'd be our first win report.
It would be our first win report, which would be nice.
I don't know what we're gonna do, but it's gonna be a celebration, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But,
All right.
or it'll just be another maybe. Hey, you never know. Maybe the Vikings will have an 0-17 season this year.
If the
Please
Twins
don't
win
say
the
that,
World
big league.
Series, that'll cure my depression.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if no one has anything else to say, then I think we can close out the show. All right. Well, thank you to everyone for watching. Hopefully, when we come back next week, Wednesday, we'll be able to report a W for the Vikings. Otherwise, make sure to make sure to subscribe to the channel. And as always, SKOL Vikings. We'll see you guys next week, Wednesday. Hopefully, Joel will be back with us.